Medical emergencies. Medical emergencies are divided into three types: minor, non-critical, and trauma or critical. Minor medical emergencies apply to injuries that can be treated by properly trained personnel using basic first aid or cardiopulmonary resuscitation techniques. Minor medical injuries can be treated in the interim until emergency medical technicians arrive. However, it is at the discretion of the employee whether they will administer first aid or CPR based on their training and comfort level. Contacting procedure. Personnel are required to call their site supervisor or manager as indicated on the posted list of emergency numbers. Information for emergency support services. Identify yourself, the type of emergency, the number of victims, the location of the victims, the condition of the victims, door nearest to the victims, details of injury, and let the dispatcher hang up first. Steps during medical emergencies. Step 1. Determine if the victim can be treated using minor first aid in the interim before a medical emergency technician arrives. Step 2. Contact building security indicating location of the victim. Step 3. Keep the victim still and comfortable. Step 4. Apply minor first aid if appropriate. Do not attempt any first aid beyond the level of training or familiarity with the attention needed. Step 5. Get copies of MSDSs to give to the emergency medical technician if the victim was exposed to a known toxic material. Step 6. Stay with the victim until emergency medical personnel arrive. Under no circumstances will an employee of Aramark be transported to an emergency facility in a company personal vehicle. Emergency services shall be called, and their vehicles should be used as the transport vehicles. Next slide. Bomb threat and acts of terrorism. In the event of a bomb threat, the building owner's plan will take precedence and will be activated, and you are required to follow all instructions. It is most important that you remain calm and follow all directions of your supervisors and managers. Do not use a cellular phone during a bomb threat. It could detonate a bomb. Though unlikely, if an Aramark manager or employee receives a bomb threat, then the following procedure should be followed. Bomb threat procedures. Keep the caller on the line as long as possible. Ask the individual to repeat the message and try to record every word he or she says. Pay attention to background noises such as motors running, music playing, noises that provide clues to the caller's location, and listen closely to the caller's voice. Is it male or female? What is the voice quality? Is it loud or soft? The manner that they're speaking, calm or angry, accents or speech impediments. Report this information immediately to building security as indicated on the posted list of emergency numbers. Use of mutual outside aid. The responding agency, most likely local fire and police, will initiate a search for the bomb immediately and will continue until relieved by the police or until the emergency coordinator orders all searchers to evacuate. Acts of terrorism. Distance yourself from the location of the incident and seek shelter as soon as possible. Follow the instructions from building security or safety personnel. Notify supervisor and seek medical attention as soon as possible for any injuries or if you believe you are exposed to a contaminating agent. Civil disorder. Management will notify building security as indicated on the posted list of emergency numbers. Stay in touch with official information. Continue in as much as possible with the normal routine. If the disturbance is outside, stay away from the doors and windows. Do not interfere with those persons creating the disturbance or with authorities on the scene. If necessary, secure resources to protect them from damage. Threats, fights, and acts of violence. All employees have the responsibility to report to their supervisor any acts or threats of violence or harm. Based on the significance and credibility of the threat, management shall report to building security as indicated on the posted list of emergency numbers. Next slide. Weather-related emergencies. Earthquake. In the event of an earthquake and or structural failure, There will be very little, if any, warning time in which to react. All occupants, employees, contractors, and visitors should take the following actions. If you are able, take cover and protect yourself immediately by going under the nearest table, desk, or against an interior wall, and protect your head and neck with your arms. Stay clear of windows, hanging objects, mirrors, or shelves where objects might fall. Hold on to furniture that covers you and protect your head and neck until the shaking stops. During the tremors, do not attempt to exit the building. Most fatalities occur when people fail to take cover. When tremors have stopped, evacuate immediately. Damage to the structure is likely. Follow the building evacuation plan for safe exit path and gathering points. No person will be allowed to enter a damaged building until the authority gives approval to re-enter the structure. Tornado and high winds. Although Washington, D.C. is not known to have tornadoes, it is possible that high winds may cause potential emergencies. Although D.C. is not known to have tornadoes, it is possible that high winds may cause potential emergencies. Provided below are some characteristics of tornadoes and some general guidelines. Characteristics of tornadoes. Tornado weather can be hot, sticky days with a southerly wind and a threatening, ominous sky. Thunderstorm clouds are usually present. An hour or two before a tornado, top-heavy clouds appear. The clouds often have a greenish-black color. Rain and hail may precede the tornado, and heavy rainfall may also occur after it has passed. Tornadoes, in most cases, move from a westerly direction, usually from the southwest. Tornadoes travel about 25 to 40 miles per hour, with wind speeds estimated as high as 500 miles per hour within the tornado. Response procedures. In the event a tornado approaches our facility, remain inside and stay away from doors and windows. Call your manager or building security team to report it as soon as it's safe to do so. Do not open doors or car windows because winds entering the building or your car can be extremely dangerous and can cause extensive damage. Retreat to your designated shelter area. The emergency coordinator will listen to the radio for the latest tornado advisory information. Next slide. Flood. The following steps will be taken in advance of the storm if possible. Move all items stored outside to an inside location or secure them as well as possible as far away from the building as possible. Try to arrange inside storage away from doors and windows and maintain aisles and passageways between stored materials if at all possible. If possible, seal bottoms of doors against any entry of water and reinforce doors that may be subject to high winds or water. Flash floods. Floods can take several hours to days to develop. If it has been raining hard for several hours or steadily raining for several days, be alert to the possibility of a flood. Listen to local radio or any alerts provided for flood information. A flood watch means a flood is possible in your area. A flood warning means flooding has already occurred or will occur soon in your area. Flash floods can take only a few minutes to a few hours to develop. A flash flood watch means flash flooding is possible in your area. A flash flood warning means a flash flood is occurring or will occur very soon. When a flood watch is issued, bring materials in from the outside that could float. Shut all doors and windows. When a flood warning is issued, listen to local radio or weather radios for information. If told to evacuate, the manager will require an evacuation. When a flash flood watch is issued, be alert to signs of flash flooding and be ready to evacuate on a moment's notice. When a flash flood warning is issued, or if you think it has already started, evacuate immediately. You may have only seconds to escape. Act quickly. All personnel will be required to move to the safe area of the building. Personnel should not drive off-site with vehicles. Next slide. Lightning. Sight and hearing are not reliable indicators of the proximity of lightning. Whenever there are thunderstorms in the area, personnel should not work outside or in areas where a lightning strike might occur. Seek cover immediately in protected buildings or, if necessary, in an enclosed vehicle. Avoid hazardous areas near antennas, transmission lines, substations, trees, tall projecting objects, open fields, open waters, beaches or piers, large equipment, etc. Do not touch conductive objects such as metal fences or rails. Training and drills. New employee orientation. All employees will be trained concerning emergency action procedures during new employee orientation training. Additional training will be provided whenever procedures change. Training will be completed by the site training director using lecture, discussion, videotape, or computer-based training, or any combination thereof. Training topics. The training will cover the following topics: Aramark contents of the EAP, the parts of the EAP the employee must know to protect himself or herself in the event of an emergency. All training documentation must include date, instructor, topics covered, and the names of the attendees. Emergency drills. All drills and exercises of the plan, if required, will be coordinated with the building oversight team. If required, the results may be documented and any problems that were encountered along with recommendations for plan modifications. Record keeping. Group and individual records of training shall be maintained. Orientation training records shall be maintained in the project files. Post emergency numbers permanently and conspicuously where employees gather. Post emergency evacuation plans conspicuously in each designated area of the building. Post area site maps showing emergency routes and nearest exits in areas of work where employees gather and in offices if permitted. Post incident critique. After every actual emergency response involving activation of the emergency action plan, the manager will conduct a post-incident critique with team members to evaluate the response, critique the timeliness and effectiveness of the procedures used, and record any suggested improvements for implementation. This concludes the Aramark Emergency Action Plan training. Thank you.